Welcome to the Medicine and Science podcast from the BMJ. I'm Cameron Abbasi, Editor-in-Chief. This week, CRISPR treatment for sickle cell anemia has been approved by NICE. But how close is this gene therapy to being a worldwide cure?
Then manipulating the stem cell DNA is in fact by putting in a gene that causes production of hemoglobin F.
Do children's baby teeth hold the potential for treating their future health issues?
They said to me, it's basically preying on parents who want the best for their children, but it isn't something that can be cured.
And the Lionesses aren't the only Brits to have retained an international football trophy.
Give him some credit. Jamie was actually the penalty taker that won the entire game and the tournament.
Firstly, CRISPR technology has revolutionised biological research, and for the first time it's out of the lab and into the NHS. NICE has approved its use as cost-effective. Shivali Fulchand, one of our clinical editors, speaks to Kenneth Charles from the University of the West Indies about properly targeting the intervention.
In January, the NHS approved Casgevy, the world's first treatment based on CRISPR gene editing technology to treat sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. It's a moment that offers hope for a community that has long suffered, but is it a silver bullet? The therapy comes with a staggering price tag and significant medical risks, raising complex questions about cost, equity, and the future of care. Today, we're delighted to be joined by the lead author of a new editorial in the BMJ that explores these very challenges. Dr. Kenneth Charles is a consultant haematologist and honorary senior lecturer at the University of the West Indies. Thank you for being here with us today.
You're most welcome. It's a great honor.
So, Dr. Charles, there was a lot of hype about CRISPR a while back, and the idea of fixing the genome is compelling. In the case of sickle cell, I think many of our listeners may be interested to know that it isn't curative and it's not as simple as fixing a faulty gene. Could you explain to us how CRISPR works in sickle cell disease?
Yeah, so the sickle cell gene is inherited, so that produces hemoglobin S. S for sickle instead of A for, what is considered normal hemoglobin, A being for adult. And with high concentrations of hemoglobin S, the red cell behaves differently. Most critically, it doesn't survive as long. It is destroyed by the body, causing long-term anemia, a low hemoglobin concentration. But most dramatically, it changes its shape under certain conditions and is therefore unable to traverse small blood vessels and take oxygen to tissues, which causes long-term tissue damage. And in the short term, it causes acute deprivation of oxygen to tissues and pain, which brings us to what is a vaso-occlusive crisis in sickle cell disease. So what the CRISPR therapy that's going to be available on the NHS does, the patient's stem cells, which make the red cells, is modified by removing the patient's stem cells from the body. Then manipulating the stem cell DNA is in fact by putting in a gene that causes production of hemoglobin F. F for fetal hemoglobin, which prevents hemoglobin S from misbehaving. So therefore, what CRISPR does in this setting is to increase hemoglobin F. But this requires high-dose chemotherapy to remove all the patient's defective stem cells to start with, and then infusing the modified stem cells, and very importantly, having the support to survive the period when the stem cells are obliterated, which requires very intense blood component support and comes with other side effects because other normal cells are also destroyed by chemotherapy.
Previous treatments for sickle cell disease target various aspects of the condition. For example, stem cell transplants are curative but have other challenges. So what makes CRISPR so unique from those?
Usually, and you've mentioned other successful treatments, the two most robust treatments to date, one is called hydroxyurea, which is a tablet which in the 1990s was shown to increase hemoglobin F, very much like what CRISPR is aiming to do. The other one, like you said, is stem cell transplantation, which arose sometime in the last 2 or 3 decades. And this requires the patient to have a donor who's of the same tissue type. So having found a donor of the same tissue type, which is often problematic in patients with sickle cell disease for various reasons, the patient is then selected, administered high-dose chemotherapy to obliterate their sickle cell disease bone marrow, and then has the donor's stem cells infused. And then there's the side effects from the chemotherapy and the waiting period until the donated stem cells engraft and begin functioning as a patient's own. So there's a stormy period in between that requires intensive support.
I'd like to pick up on what you mentioned about some of the side effects and the risks. And you point out that any treatment is not without some serious risks, including CRISPR. And the high-dose chemotherapy that comes beforehand can cause infertility and death. And the long-term efficacy of Casgevy in preventing tissue damage is also unknown. So given these considerations, how should doctors and patients navigate that difficult decision of which therapy to pursue, and in particular, whether they should pursue CRISPR therapy?
One of the things that worries me, and this is personally, in like the United Kingdom, United States, and so on, stem cell transplantation is quite routinely done. And people are more familiar with the possible complications after the high-dose chemotherapy is given, and they're horrendous. We've seen the long-term effects of the infertility, the secondary cancers, and these are difficult to convey when this silver bullet is offered in a very glamorous sounding setting. And that side of it is not known or conveyed. When I was speaking to one young man with sickle cell disease who I was telling that we're going to be doing this podcast, and what should we say? And his concern was just this, and I've spoken to 2 or 3 of them, and they're all aware of the requirements to run a proper sickle cell service. A lot of it is not solved by offering CRISPR to, it will be a select few. There are thousands and thousands of eligible people. And the concern is that this offered does not take attention from some of the basic requirements of sickle cell care, which are quite achievable and attainable if the resources, not necessarily financial. A lot of them are organizational to benefit our sickle cell disease patients. Because we have, for example, here we have several hematologists now who have worked on transplant units and could set up this service. But our bigger limiting things are what leads up to it. For somebody to have CRISPR, they must be over the age of 12 and have no tissue damage as a result of sickle cell disease going into it. Now, in the absence of well-designed and implemented programs, many of the patients will have tissue damage and not qualify. So therefore, the emphasis in this setting and in any setting is to prevent long-term tissue damage. So there are a lot of revolving questions and interlinked questions to be asked. Don't get me wrong. I think it's very good. And it's very good that this kind of investment and thought and experimentation has gone into it, and such consideration has been given, such priority has been given to sickle cell disease and all diseases, thalassemia major included. And things are being worked upon, and I'm quite aware, and I applaud them. There are important things in the comprehensive here of sickle cell disease and thalassemia major that need to be sorted out, not only in the United Kingdom, but the United States or whatever developed country it is being offered. And one of the big limiting factors, and you could check this, is a poor blood donation by people from these immigrant communities. And the basis for that is rooted in their countries of origin. And it's a big area of research now in which we're engaging with some UK colleagues.
And that editorial, CRISPR Therapy for Sickle Cell Disease, is available on bmj.com. Now, baby teeth. A number of British companies are offering to collect children's teeth for stem cell extraction, and the companies promise to harvest and freeze these cells, banking them for future need. A new investigation on bmj.com has looked at these companies. The BMJ's Rebecca Coombs spoke with freelance investigative journalist Emma Wilkinson about the outrageous claims she found.
So, I'm Rebecca Coombs. I'm head of journalism at the BMJ, and I'm here with Emma Wilkinson. Hi, Emma.
Hello.
You're an investigative journalist in Sheffield, and you've worked very regularly for us. And your most recent piece is what we're talking about today. And this is about something I'd never heard of before: a tooth stem cell banking. Now, the BMJ has previously investigated companies that encourage parents to bank cord blood, with similar findings. Tell us a bit about tooth stem cell banking and how you stumbled across it.
Yeah, so this is something that I'd not heard of before either. My niece has diabetes. She was diagnosed in the pandemic when she was 3. And my sister had asked me, have you heard of tooth stem cell banking? We're thinking if this is something that we should be investing in case there is a cure for diabetes in the future, that we'll have a source of her stem cells. And I hadn't heard of it. I'd read the BMJ's previous investigation into claims made about cord blood banking. So I guess I was initially a bit sceptical about claims that might be made. But I didn't have any idea, and so I just went to look.
What did you find?
The only information available on this, and the pros and cons and benefits, etc., were from the companies who were offering this.
So nothing on NHS sites, nothing on charity sites, as we might find with cord blood banking?
Yes, so there was no independent information. So I went to the Human Tissue Authority website, I was looking at charities, the NHS. There was absolutely nothing. But yeah, I was suspicious about the fact that that was the only source of information.
And you're quite a seasoned journalist, aren't you? So how did you feel when you sort of found yourself in this situation?
Yeah, so I immediately said to my sister, I'm going to have to look into this further, but I think this is quite suspicious. And it took me 6 months, I'd say, to get to the bottom of...
Oh, right, that long?
Yeah, because I had to kind of collate all the claims that were being made, go through that in detail, but then find experts who could help talk me through, whether my suspicions were correct or not. And to go to the Human Tissue Authority and to go to the Advertising Standards Agency in the end.
Yeah,
to just
exactly.
kind of work out what are parents supposed to do here.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what these companies are offering to do and some of the claims?
Yes. So what the company does is you kind of sign up to the service, and when your child's milk teeth fall out naturally, you would parcel those up kind of straight away, send them off. They send you a kit basically to collect them, send it off to the laboratory where they extract stem cells, they culture them to get kind of a greater number of them, and then they store them liquid nitrogen essentially. And they say that scientists are already researching treatments involving these stem cells for things like diabetes, autism, heart disease, Parkinson's disease, MS, knee cartilage repair was one that I came across.
That's a broad list of potential clients then.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Which sort of brings us on to the claims then about what these companies were claiming about the potential of storing these teeth. And you think you've already pointed to a wide list of conditions that if your child had any of them, you might want to consider.
Yeah. And I think the thing for me that's different from the cord blood banking example is that when your child is losing their milk teeth at the age of 5, 6, 7, 8, they might already have one of these conditions. So you as a family are dealing with that day in, day out. So diabetes is a good example of that. It might be autism, which we can come on to in a minute because that's a special example, but is another example of that. So I think there's an extra layer of emotion there for families who are thinking they're already dealing with the daily realities of living with that condition and would be desperate for cure if one was possible. And so even if there's just a tiny inkling that this could, an insurance policy, I can just send them a tooth.
Yeah. And you compare that. I'm really interested in what happened when you spoke to experts about what you found and what kind of responses you got. And I reading your piece, I think the National Autistic Society gave a particularly strong response. Can you tell us a bit about that and why you think they felt that way?
Yeah, so one of the examples of a condition where stem cells could be a treatment is autism. And to be honest, when I read that struck me as a bit odd because autism isn't an illness. So I sort of wondered what they meant by that. And so then one of the experts I spoke to said that for her, that was a big red flag because there is no evidence that stem cells are beneficial in this area. Again, it's not an illness, it's not a disease. So I thought I'd go to the National Autistic Society and get their view. Like Diabetes UK, is this something you get asked about? And from them, I got the strongest response from anybody. They said it was absolutely outrageous that the companies, morally bankrupt, I believe, was a phrase that was in their response. They were furious. They said to me, it's basically preying on parents who want the best for their children, but it isn't something that can be cured.
I mean, these are pretty strong responses, and I know that you went back to the companies to get their response to this, and perhaps you could tell us a bit about the companies that are providing this type of service and their response.
Yeah, so there's 3 companies in the UK, one called Future Health Biobank, one called BioEden, one called Stem Protect. So obviously we wanted to put our queries to them, right of reply, etc. So then I had to go and find out contact details. And in doing that, I realised that they all had the same address. So the laboratory was the same place in a science park in Nottingham. So I was like, that's a bit odd. So started asking these companies kind of what was happening and putting my questions to them. So it turns out Future Health Biobank had bought out BioEden in 2019. So they're 2 of the longest running companies offering this. But that's not clear from their websites that it's the same company. They're both claiming we're the best, come and do it with us. But it's from an outside, you're kind of comparing the 2 and seeing who you trust more, I suppose. But it's the same company. And the other one is called Stem Protect, and it was really difficult to get in touch with them. And through their website, a number on their website, I finally got sort of a PR person get back to me from a business waste management company. I was really confused.
That is confusing.
Yeah, and I couldn't find any evidence of a company called Stem Protect on Companies House.
Right.
But this business waste management company, the director of Stem Protect, this PR told me, is one of the directors of so it seems to be a company that doesn't normally do biotech or healthcare. They have handed over all the laboratory side of things to Future Health Biobank, who run it all. So it's all going through the same laboratory in Nottingham anyway. In terms of the claims, so Future Health Biobank answered on behalf of all 3. saying that, citing papers, because the website cites papers, but the problem is that might be a paper that talks about, in a laboratory, how you can extract stem cells from teeth, which we're not questioning here. Or it might be a paper that talks about how stem cells might be a beneficial treatment in heart disease. But in that paper, those stem cells are not coming from teeth.
Got it.
So, again, it's what the experts told me, that it's kind of quite vague catch-all terms, that unless you're a specialist in any of this, you're not going to understand the difference or what it might mean. It's promising a future that is unlikely to happen on the basis of some stem cells you collected from your child's tooth decades earlier.
It sounds like, you have these enterprises that just have too much liberty to make health claims, which in turn encourages parents to part ways with thousands of pounds. What more could be done to protect these consumers? Yeah,
so it does seem to fall a bit between regulators. So the Advertising Standards Agency would be regulating claims that would be made in marketing material and on websites. And I actually have put in a complaint to the ASA because I believe the claims that we came across on these websites are in breach of their guidelines.
Right. Do you know if they've had any other complaints?
So they told me that they have upheld complaints that have been made against cord blood banking services, but not in teeth.
Right.
So we'll see if I've said I've put in complaints on the basis of all three companies that are marketing this in the UK. The ASA guidelines say that claims should be evidence-based and socially responsible, and I think they fall down on both of those. So, but we're waiting to see what their ruling is on that.
That investigation, Banking Babies' Teeth, is on bmj.com. Finally, we're finishing with football. Great Britain had a strong showing in this year's Medics World Cup. Our over-25s team brought the trophy home, and our women's team competed for the first time. To explain more, I'm joined in the studio by Minnan Al-Khafaji, captain of the women's team, and straight from the wards, I've got Jamie Thoroughgood, captain of the men's team. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
No, I'm delighted to have you on with us today. So I want to know, tell us about this tournament and what is it and how do you get to compete in it? Jamie.
So thanks for having us, Cam. So we compete once a year in a World Cup. The basic rules are you've got to have a medical degree, and then you come to trial. And if you're good enough to compete for Great Britain Medics, then you're selected to play. 24 teams, and we've played the likes of Austria, Panama, Argentina, Brazil, and the big names that you want to play against and test your skills and your mettle. And I mean, what an amazing opportunity to kick ball with your colleagues in medicine.
You mentioned selection. Now listen, it's a long time since I was at medical school, but nobody talked about a GB team playing in a football World Cup, and I certainly didn't hear about any trials. So when did this start, Jamie? And how many of these have we had so far?
So this is the 29th International Symposium. I joined in 2018, but the WMFC was founded in the early 2000s by a chap called Morel, and that's what the tournament's named after. Now there's 24 teams in the tournament, and over the years, the tournament has grown, and hopefully the visibility continues to grow with our social media platforms, reaching out to medical schools, and over time, the team is hopefully becoming more representative of the best footballers within the medical profession. But you're absolutely right. When I left medical school in 2015, I hadn't heard of the Great Britain Medical Football Team, and it was a Facebook shout.
Okay, well, I left medical school a bit before that, Jamie, and I won't tell you exactly when. Minnan, tell us about these other categories and, of course, the women's competition.
Jamie just mentioned that his team, so their competition is 11 aside. The rest are all 7-a-side. So the women's, the over 45s and the over 60s, those are the other 3 categories.
Okay. So how did you get on in this tournament?
We did really, really well. There were 14 teams this year, so a massive increase from 7 last year in Australia. In Dublin this year, we've had 14 teams and we came 6th.
Hey, brilliant. So from scratch, you came 6th.
Yeah, it was amazing. I think we could have gone a lot further. It was just luck of the draw. We ended up facing the finalists, who was the German team in the quarterfinal.
Okay.
And we lost
Let's
to
not
them.
talk about losing to Germany, right?
Well, do you know what's incredible is I found out that their entire team is, what they did was they went to all academies around Germany and they said, do you have any doctors? So
Really?
they found basically 20 semi-professional
Women.
who play football,
God.
who are also doctors.
You wouldn't get that here, probably, would you?
Well, that's what we're trying for now.
You
So
didn't
if
use the
anyone's
same
keen,
tactic. It's
Well-
just an excuse to go to the academies. You go around all of them now.
well, why not?
Yeah.
I think so. My recruitment style, we've just tried everything. I went to the National Association of Medical Schools competition,
Yeah.
and I spoke to every medical school, letting them know that we exist. When
Yeah.
you graduate, we exist. And
Yeah.
even now, your 3rd year, 4th year, 1st year, come and train with us. Come
Yeah.
see what it's like,
Yeah.
so that you know that your football doesn't end when you leave and start working and you have on calls and you're too busy.
Yeah.
You can still make time for this, and if you're passionate and you enjoy playing, why
Yeah.
not?
Well, you're going to have an upsurge now.
Oh, I hope
without-
so.
without a
That
matter
would
of
be a
doubt.
delight, honestly. Friendly.
All right, very good. Well, listen, well, congratulations
Thank you very
on
much.
participating and finishing 6th in your first tournament. I think that's pretty impressive. So, Jamie, how did you get on?
Yeah, I mean, we did pretty good, and we defended our title, Cam.
Hey,
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, absolutely over the moon,
Yeah.
and yeah, not an easy route to the final, and actually a repeat of the 2023 final, which felt a little bit sweet to turn Ireland over. It's the only time that we've lost in a final. In the last 5, we've won 4 of them, and Ireland beat us in Vienna. So to turn them over on their patch was a
Yeah.
very sweet feeling. And
Yeah, hang on, just to be clear, you've won 4 out of 5 competitions in the last 5 years.
that's right, yeah.
So you're almost invincible, really. You're just the best team around.
I mean, we're over the moon to be as successful as you have been, and it takes a lot of commitment and time. People commuting around from around the country, from Wales, from Scotland, from Northern Ireland, coming together this year in Oxford as a central location, training once a month on a Sunday, and credit to the lads on social media getting the word out there, trying to recruit the best doctors from around the UK.
Yeah.
And credit to the gaffer for laying on fantastic sessions, and that brings us up together as a well-organised unit. And this team, just similar to our masters section, to our women's section, just can't be successful as a club without the support of the physios that come with us, our families, our partners, our wives, our husbands, and it's a massive investment. But to kick ball with your colleagues, your friends, and put on a Great Britain shirt in the name of medicine, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Jamie and Minnan, actually, Minnan, you mentioned Germany recruit players from clubs who are in their academies, but I mean, I've got kids, boys and girls, who played football, and it's not that easy to get siphoned off into an academy and keep a medical career going. In fact, you can't do the two things, because if you're getting into a club academy in the UK, that's it. That's what you're doing. It's a bit like medical school, you're committing to that. So it must be quite hard there must be some really excellent players out there in both the men's and the women's game, but it must be a real challenge kind of finding them, because my memory of sport is that obviously you play a lot when you're at school, when you're at college, but medical school, it becomes harder to kind of keep it up, and certainly once you're qualified, then it becomes a massive challenge. So there must be some very good players who you can never get to.
They exist. I think they exist, and
Yeah.
what they've proven to us is they are there.
Yeah.
There's an Irish international player, Harrietta Scott.
Yeah.
She actually recently followed us on Instagram,
Okay.
which was massive. We thought, oh wow, she's seen us. She knows who
Does
we
she
are
have
now.
a GB sort of birth certificate?
She played for Ireland, so I'm not sure. But we'll welcome her with open arms.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Jamie?
So a lot of our players have played non-league football, so often have finished at academies, either done a YTS contract and then come out of an academy, or played at amateur professional games and then subsequently gone on to study medicine. A lot of our players that have played non-league football, myself, there's a Welsh contingent playing in the Welsh third tier. Guy is playing in step 4, and Louis, one of our over 40s, has played semi-professionally at Wembley and now now continues to play football regularly, work practicing as a GP. So we've got a big cohort of people that have kept up non-league football through their medical school training, and then subsequently into their F1, F2 core medicine years.
Yeah.
And again, there is that,
and of course,
wheeling and dealing, swapping for the love of the game.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, do medical schools still have football teams? They did have when I was.
They
at
do,
medical
yeah.
school,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do.
So
Can I just add,
please,
watching them is
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. It's actually
What,
a
it's
pleasure
like
to
watching
watch.
a Premier League team.
Honestly, that's what it feels like, because we know every one of the players. So watching them is such a pleasure.
Okay.
And to watch them in the final, it was in a stadium. It was live streamed. Anyone who couldn't make it, family members, everyone was watching it live on YouTube.
Can we watch it on YouTube?
You probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
It might
probably
still be
could.
up,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But you'll be clutching your heart at the penalties towards the end.
Oh, did you win on penalties?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Oh my God.
JT was actually, I'll give him some credit. Jamie was actually the penalty taker that won the entire game and the tournament.
Wow, that's so cool. How did you feel taking that? What? Tell first of all, tell us your run to the cup. Then, who did you beat?
Yeah, so we drew Austria, Panama, and Argentina in the group. Played Austria first, beaten 3-1. Played Panama and beaten 6-0, I think it was. And then tight game against Argentina, who'd beaten both Austria and Panama. So kind of winner takes all type game, and we turned them over 1-0. And so good feeling to beat Argentina. And then a repeat of the 2024 final where we played the hosts in 2024, Australia. And we a tight game, drew 1-1, and beat them on penalties. Played Brazil. And again, the chance to say you played Brazil in a world.
You
World
played
Cup.
some big teams, Brazil,
and beat them 1-0, and then played the host Ireland in the final, beating them on penalties.
Incredible. So tell us about. So it went to penalties. Were you? What was it? What was this? What situation was it in the penalties when you stepped up? Were you the last penalty taker?
I'm a centre half, and if I could have thrown it up in the air and aimed it, I would have done. I took it after the goal, and there was 2 players.
No, seriously. Are you being serious?
No, I'm dead serious. I was number 9, and there's only 2 players on the pitch that are more terrified of taking.
Oh, so it was one of those absolute thriller penalty shootouts.
It was a corker, tight game. I think we edged it in 80 minutes, took the winning penalty. The gaffer pulled me aside before I don't think ever seen me score a penalty in training. Just said, "Get your head over it, keep it down, for God's sake."
What did you do any of that?
I just was hoping the ground would swallow me up, but managed. The keeper went the wrong way and managed to hit the target, so it was all right.
Oh, that's an incredible story. And how did you feel then? What did you do?
It's pure relief for me. I'm sure that actual penalty takers can enjoy that moment, but I'm just so relieved because I know how much all those people around the club, how much it means to them, and how much effort and time is put into trying to translate that to success on the pitch. And so you're just relieved more than anything.
Okay, listen, incredible story. Many congratulations. Sounds like you had a great time, and
Cheers.
You are the dominant force of men's doctors football. I don't know how you describe it, but you are the dominant force. So hope you can keep it up. And Minnan, congratulations on your first tournament.
You very much.
Sounds like you started 6th. You're going to win it next year, I reckon.
We will.
Oh, we will?
I think we will.
That's good to hear.
I mean, we've got 15 new players signed up for trials, hopefully in November.
Yeah.
And every time I open the form, there's more players who have signed up.
Okay.
So it's very exciting.
Do any of the Lionesses have a medical degree? You better go and find out.
That's why I need to find out. Do you know anyone?
No, I'm sorry, I don't. If it's cricket, I could help you, but football, I can't. Right, listen, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations and good luck next year.
Thank
Cam,
you.
thank you so much. Nice to see you, mate.
Thanks for having us.
That was Minnan Al-Khafaji and Jamie Thoroughgood. And if you're listening and want to support them, they're both looking for sponsors. You can get in touch through the links in our podcast notes. If you enjoyed the show, why not give us a rating or a review? It really helps. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back in a fortnight with more medicine and science. Until then, I'm Cameron Abbasi. Thanks for listening.